If you've had to spend a little bit of time out of the water lately, everything, when you do get back in, it might feel like you're starting from the very beginning. So why not? Let's just run through everything from the very beginning, innit? Beginner lesson, the ultimate beginner lesson. Yeah. So we'll just start by introducing the surfboard. This is a surfboard. Up at the front, you call this area the nose. Down at the rear, call this area the tail. The sides of your board are known as the rails of your board. And the top of the board is known as the deck. So if you hear your instructor saying, take your hands off the rails and put them flat on the deck or move closer to the nose or the tail, you know what they're talking about. The bottom of the board is called the bottom. Ingenious, I know. But on the bottom, in the tail, you've got your fins. The board you should be riding when you first start out, the fins should be more rubberized, but don't get me wrong, if these hit you in the head, they're still going to cause you a little bit of pain. The reason these can be a bit of an issue is because of this, your leash leg rope. This goes on your back ankle. I'll dive into that in a second, but this tends to be about 6 to 8 feet long. So whenever you come up off a wave, 6 to 8 feet in a weighting are your fins. So you always say when you come up off a wave, you don't want to come up head first, you want to come up with your head covered. There's a trick to covering your head in surfing. You want to take one hand and place it on the base of your spine. You want to take one hand and place it on the back of your skull, and then take your elbows and pull them together, basically making your own little personalized crash helmet when you fall off. So like I say, when you come up off a wave, you always want to come up with your head covered, because 6 to 8 feet and a weighting are always your fins. Now, your leash leg rope, this goes on your back ankle. If you jump up for me for a second and just show me which way round you'll stand, whether you're going to stand with your right foot forward or whether you're going to stand with your left foot forward. Standing with your left foot forward is known as natural footed or regular. Standing with your right foot forward is known as goofy footed. It's not down to bad dental work. If you can't figure out which way you stand, the trick is to imagine you're going to slide across some wet grass or some ice, and which way you'd want to slide, that way or that way. But top tip, when you do put yourself in your stance with your goofy footed or regular, when you're standing on a board, you want your feet roughly just over shoulder width and parallel. You want to be bent at the knees, bent at the hips, and a nice arch in your back. You want to be nice and evenly weighted. Like you're sitting on a chair, sitting on a bike. You don't want to be leaning over the front foot or leaning over the back foot. We do lean into the back foot when we turn our boards. But to start with, you want to be nice and evenly weighted. And then your arms want to be lightly holstered beside you. Right, let's get into what we're actually going to be doing. Or rather, you're going to be doing when you head down to the beach. When you get down to the beach and you're heading out into the sea, you want to make sure you're at a beach that's nice and flat, and you don't want to be encased in rocks like this. You want to give yourself plenty of space. But what you want to make sure of is when you're making your way out into the water, to start with, you only want to go out sort of just below waist depth. But as you're making your way out into the water, you want to remember to have your board by your side. Both hands on the rails and board by your side. And you want to push it through the waves. The one place you don't want your board to be, you can probably guess, is between yourself and the oncoming surf. If it is, you'll be quickly reminded why you want to have it by your side. Another key point is to watch out it's not bouncing off your hips all day. You'll get to the end of the day and you'll feel like you've been in a boxing ring. You just want to go out into just below waist depth water, push the board through the waves. Once you get out there, you want to turn your board around. Now, as the waves are coming in, you want to let your wave get to about here. before you lie on your board and you start paddling. You want to go out to about waist depth water, turn the board around. As you see your wave coming, you're going to lie on. Now when you lie on your board, it's super important that you lie on in the right place. If when you lie on it, you lie on and you're too far forward, right up in the nose, you'll get the wonderful experience known as nose diving. Eyelids peeled back, face full of salty water. The other one is, when you're lying on the board, you want to make sure you're not lying too far back on the board. Otherwise, the board's just going to be stalling in the water and acting like a big brake. You want to make sure you're lying in what we call the balance point, or the sweet spot of the board. Now, for most people, when they go out on a bigger board like this, you'll want your toes just able to touch the tail of the board. And you will usually find with these bigger boards, that'll give you a good starting position. Key point is if you hold one of your arms out, or both your arms out as far as they'll go, and see how close they are to the nose once you are in the right place, so you've always got a good gauge. So you can go out to waist depth water, turn your board around, you see your wave coming, lie on, and check you're lying in the right place. Now wave's coming and you're going to want to catch it. This is going to involve a little bit of paddling. Yay! What you've got to be careful of is watch. A lot of people take paddling from swimming and they do sort of long, exaggerated strokes. When you're paddling your board, you want to watch you're not overextending the arms, causing you to roll around on the deck of the board. You want to keep your strokes a little bit shorter and keep your body nice and flat to the deck of the board. So like I say, go out to waist depth water, turn the board around, see the wave coming, you want to lie on and check you're lying in the right place, and then start to paddle. Now, once you feel you've caught your wave, you're going to want to get to your feet. The first thing you want to do as you feel you've caught your wave is take your hands, put them flat on the deck of the board underneath your armpits, where you'll get maximum extension. If your arms are too far forward, you're not going to get a lot of extension, and if they're too far back, it's going to be a lot of hard work. You want them nicely just in under your armpits. Now, the fastest way to your feet is a shortboarder's pop-up, where as the rider paddles in, as they paddle in, the hands go flat on the deck of the board, they give a little flick down with their legs and use the leverage off their knees and thighs and upper body to spring load themselves to their feet. The fastest and easiest way to get your feet on a board like this is what we call a longboarder's pop-up. Which is where, as the rider paddles in, they put their hands flat on the deck of the board, and now they engage their toes onto the tail. And this creates a space, and it's this space that they jump through. Paddle, 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 hands, toes, and pop themselves to their feet. The fastest way to your feet that isn't jumping is what we call the Brazilian pop-up, or Australians call the chicken wing. And it's where, as the rider paddles in, as they paddle in and put their hands flat on the deck of the board, they bring their back foot up to the inside of the other knee, and they run themselves into the position. Now, the easiest way to get to your feet is what we call a slide step twist, which is where, as the rider paddles in, as the hands go flat on the deck of the board, really lifting with the head, they just slide two knees up by their hands. Then from here, take the front foot and roll it out and wrap it around the other knee. And from here, you've done all the hard work, keeping the head up, just twist yourself into position. And it's like so. As you paddle in, just think 1, 2, 3. So what I would suggest doing is, if you're going to practice this on the beach before you go into the water, which I highly recommend you do, is slide yourself into the soft sand. I think paddle, paddle, paddle. 1, 2, 3. Lie yourself back down. Paddle, paddle, paddle. 1, 2, 3. And I'd go through this at least 10, if not 20 times before I went in the water, so I can get really used to getting my feet in the right place. The trick is, no matter how you get into your feet, the two most important bits is when you lie on the board, is try not to lie on it and go into starfish mode. Sort of, what's happening? You want to make sure you keep your feet and legs together, because then there's a lot more chance of the feet going down the center of the board. And the other key point is really lift with the head. So whether you're just slide, step, twist, feet together and lift with the head, or whether you're popping straight to your feet in one movement, it's feet together, lift with the head. Easy, innit? Easy. Now, one other key point is when you're riding in on a wave and you want to get off of a wave, as you're riding into the shallows, what you want to watch is you don't jump off the board, because if the board's still moving and you jump off, it's really easy to roll your ankles. If you're riding along and you want to get off your wave, all you do is go down to the rails and step off. But if you're falling and you're going to fall off, and then cover your head. Another top tip, if you're going to fall flat. Remember, the water's really shallow. So if you're going to fall flat and cover your head. And another top tip is, if you think you're going to run into someone, don't look at them. Look at the gap. Where you look is where you go. Oh, wave coming! That's it, I think. See if I find a little wave and show you what I mean, innit? Show you what I mean, you motherfucker. And before you head in, said before, your leash goes on your back ankle, but you want to make sure, one, it goes on nice and tight, so it's not spinning around on the ankle, and two, make sure the leash toggle is on the outside of your ankle, because if it's on your inside, you'll get your own personal tripwire every time you go to get up. So make sure the leash toggle is on the outside. Game on!